Hello there, Sun Devil. You may have heard me say in other instructional videos or in other settings that I believe you should not outsource your thinking to AI. So it's only natural that we talk about how I, your professor, use AI as part of grading. Wait, our professor uses AI for grading? Yes! And you will see the reasons why this benefits you and your learning experience. This is my office, by the way, so if you are ever on campus and would like to meet in person, shoot me an email. Okay, so first, the reason we can have interactive projects in our classes is because of AI. These days, our projects often have AI-enabled features that we simply would not be able to have without it, such as interacting with the controller and getting immediate feedback on your interactions, or getting feedback from your audit manager on your submissions because the manager's personality is programmed into AI. Second, AI will grade your submissions and it will do so consistently, much more consistently than I or a TA would have done manually. Now, why can it do it that way? It's because I trained it. I provided and tested instructions for it. I trained it and taught it how to be both generous in its grading and specific so that for every point it deducts, it actually tells you why that point was deducted. Those of you who have had human grading before know that you don't usually get feedback that detailed from humans because we simply don't have that much capacity. But AI enables us to provide more consistent grading and more useful, detailed feedback to you. In that sense, the AI grader actually has more of your professor's fingerprints on it because it applies my instructions more consistently than human graders typically can. Importantly, your submissions are graded by AI housed within the ASU system, which is highly secure and FERPA compliant. So your submissions are not uploaded to AI outside of the ASU system. Your submissions are graded within the ASU provided system, so they are not used for training or anything like that. Next, let's go behind the scenes for a quick sneak peek of how a grader actually looks.
Hello, this is your professor's AI voice clone, and I am delighted to give you a quick tour of the grader created by your professor. Here is how an AI grader looks under the hood. There's a lot of programming and training that goes into it. I will not scroll through here so you don't see the actual instructions, but rest assured, a lot of time and thought went into designing this grader in the first place and maintaining and fine-tuning it to be most valuable to you. Importantly, the grader is fine-tuned so that if your professor uploads the same submission twice in two separate chats, the feedback and the grading will be within a very small number of points with only very minor differences in feedback. Your professor makes sure that your grading is precise and consistent, using the best available AI models. When the grader is used to grade the project, here is how the app looks. Notice that for each student, a separate chat is open so that student submissions do not cross-pollinate in any way. In other words, your professor grades each submission independently of the others. For some projects, your professor may also require you to submit screenshots of your interactions with AI as you develop key conclusions. Your professor may have a separate tool, similarly and meticulously trained, to help identify any discrepancies between your conclusions and the audit trail you provide. In the age of AI, these kinds of verification steps are becoming the new norm.
And last but definitely not least, what I do as a professor afterward is review every grade and feedback it provides, and I adjust it as needed. So the feedback and grade you get at the end are in reality from me, your professor, grading your work with the help of AI. So just like in the past, if I did not use a TA, I used a calculator first to grade your submissions, and maybe later when computers were invented, I used computer to grade submissions. I'm not that old, but you get the picture. Now that AI has been invented, we use AI sometimes to grade your submissions. And with each technological development, the feedback, experience, and value you receive actually improves. So I hope this helps ease your mind that your professor isn't slacking off or anything like that. You're actually getting greater value with AI involved. And trust me, I probably spent more time designing, training, and programming this grader than reviewing the grades and feedback and then distributing those grades and feedback than I would have if I just did it manually with the help of a TA. And as an important side note that will be useful to you when you're working in the real world. The other day, I spent time with the Chief Accounting Officer's team at a major Silicon Valley company. They told me that one of the misunderstandings of their bosses is that if a memo took all day to prepare before AI, now it just takes 5 minutes to prepare. Well, if any of you ever tried to use AI to produce a good product, you know that that's actually not the case. Maybe it doesn't take all day now, but it still takes a couple or several hours to get AI to do it 90% right, and then manually get the remaining 10% right, and then verify the whole thing to ensure that it's ready to be distributed to the decision makers. AI is an assistant that improves a professor's work. It's not a robot that replaces your professor's work. And as Steve Jobs used to say, one more thing. And in our case, that one more thing is you're almost certain to get your grade and feedback a lot faster than if it were me or a TA grading it manually. I hope this helps ease your mind about how AI is used in grading some of your work. And don't forget that ASU is #1 in innovation. Good luck with your project.